I'm the manager. Oh, thank you, Halima, for getting us started on recording. So my name is Tiffany Ross. I am the manager of Network Learning and Development here at McHale, and we're so excited to have you here for today's instructor workshop. As we're starting to let people in and everyone's getting settled, if you can take a moment to change your display name to your name and the organization that you're working for. If you're not with an organization, that's okay. You can put looking if you're looking for a job as an instructor. There might be some opportunity here for you. So if you could share so we know which programs are in the room. Stacy Casa, Shepherd Pratt, Seneca Creek, Briggs Center, fabulous. Casa and FCC. Wonderful. And CFC. Great. So excited to see all of you here.
I put some information in there about how to change your name.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Sure.
Such a teacher, huh? Good morning. Thanks for getting our chat going, Gabriella and Francesca, Emmanuel. Good morning or good afternoon to everybody. Welcome. And we'll take one more moment to help people get settled in. If you're just coming in, hi, my name is Tiffany Ross, and we're inviting you to change your display name to your name and your organization so we can see which programs we have in the room. There's so many really great programs serving our Montgomery County community, and we want to make sure that you're represented here. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Everyone, my name is Tiffany Ross. I'm the manager of Network Learning and Development for McHale. For those of you who are not familiar with McHale or just don't really know what we do, maybe you come to our events and you're not sure who we are. I just like to share with everybody a little bit. We are the Montgomery Coalition for Adult English Literacy. This year, we're celebrating 15 years of coalition building and supporting with English literacy in Montgomery County. And celebrate. I see Halima's celebration. Yes, it's a big accomplishment. We're really excited about it. And our role in the community is to strengthen Montgomery County by continuing to advance this coalition of organizations, which all of your organizations are a part of, the organizations that are providing adult ESOL programming in our county. And we do this a couple of different ways. We provide grants, we provide technical assistance for building ESOL programs and improving your programs, and professional development. So we're really happy and excited to have all of you here joining us today for our Here Today, Gone Tomorrow peer conversation about learner retention and attendance. Welcome, welcome. So our objectives for today, by the end of today's workshop, we will have talked about various factors that affect student attendance and really separate the factors that we don't have much control and influence around and those that we do. That will be our main focus for today, understanding what do we have as instructors have influence over and have some peer conversation around that. What are our promising techniques and practices to help really improve learner attendance and retention in our classrooms? Our goal is for you to walk away with at least one new strategy or idea that you can use in your classroom to help improve retention or attendance. So how are we going to do that? Well, today we'll be together until about 2:30. And so we have a lot of engaging activities planned for you. First, welcome to you all. Then we're going to reflect on what are the factors that do contribute to learner attendance and retention, and what do we really have a strong influence over as instructors? Then we have three awesome panelists who are peers within our Montgomery County network who have been recommended by their organizations for their strong attendance levels and retention levels in their classroom. So we're going to have a bit of a peer panel to hear some of their experiences and best practices around student attendance and retention. And then you'll have an opportunity to talk to others in our community, your fellow instructors. We'll go into breakout rooms and we have a worksheet that will guide you through some group discussion where you'll be able to share your insights and gain some from others. And then we'll close out today with some McHale updates and our feedback survey. So let's talk a moment about what's your influence over a learner attendance. So we know with adult learners, there are a lot of things that impact their ability to show up to class, a lot of responsibilities, and some of them are within our influence and some of them are not. So when we asked you to register for today's workshop, we asked, what is your biggest challenge with learner attendance and retention? And you can see here we've got a wide range of responses, right? You don't have to read all of them, but this just really does go to show that there are many factors that you as instructors are really thinking about when it comes to attendance. So I know that we have a really rich conversation in front of us today. And as I'm sharing this with you, just an FYI, today's conversation is being recorded. It'll go up on our McHale website, and also our Facebook. So we will share that with you afterwards. But if you do not want to be on camera today, you can feel free to keep your camera off. But if not, we'd love to see your face and who's in the room. So let's take a moment to talk about our learners. So as we were just saying, adult learners, they have different roles, responsibilities, factors that impact their ability to continuously show up in class throughout a semester. A big one that we saw from your responses are work schedules, right? We as instructors have little control over our learners' work schedules, but it definitely impacts their ability to show up in class. Maybe mental health may be a concern for some of our students, and it may contribute to attendance. Childcare and being responsible for their children. So let's take a moment to think. You can use the chat feature, or you can feel free to unmute yourself and just shout out. What are some other factors outside of our control as instructors that impact learners' attendance? Feel free to hop in the chat or just unmute yourself and share a word or two. What are some other factors outside of our control?
I'd like to share that I used to teach over at the Head Start building on Rocking Horse. So we even provided childcare, but in some cases, my participants' children didn't want to come to childcare. They wanted to stay home. Mm-hmm. So even though we were providing the service, they still were not always taking advantage of it. And so that was really outside our control.
Thank you. And your name is pronounced Rivka?
Yes, Rivka, yes.
Thank you, Rivka. This is important, right? Even if outside of our control, even if you provide a service that can help minimize the barriers, the children or the parents may not want to take advantage of that, right? I see in the chat here, their jobs, absolutely. Students caring for sick relative with COVID, that was a huge new experience for us over this past now almost 2 years, right? Internet or connectivity or transportation if in person. SS family issues. Oh, students. Students, family issues. Thank you. their jobs and care for senior family members, feeling unsafe in person, and work opportunities. Absolutely. If more ideas come to you, keep them coming. But there are many factors that are definitely outside of our control. So we're not going to spend a lot of our time focusing on these factors because we don't have much of a say. What we are going to spend our time on is thinking about these factors that we can influence as instructors. So to do this, we're going to invite you to go to menti.com. I just put in the chat a link that you can click directly, or you can go to menti.com and enter this code. I'm going to stop sharing this screen and share a new one with you. Once I can find it. And as you're completing this, just give me 1 second, I apologize. I'm trying to find where it is so I can share it with you. As you're completing this, you're going to be, your ideas are going to be added to a word wall. And I'll be able to present that to you so you can see everyone's responses as they come in. I see them coming in. I'm just having a hard time sharing them with you. I'll try this again.
Tiffany, could you share the access code again, please?
Sure.
And can you tell us what you want us to do? Oh, right away,
Yes.
you have influenced on learner retention.
Here we go. We're good. So all these requests, thank you for them. They're coming in now. All right. So you can see my screen now. Yes. Can I get a thumbs up if you can see my screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yes. So when you go to the link, you can go to menti.com and you can enter this access code up top 4973-7204. If you click on the link from the chat, it should take you directly to this. So we're asking that in 1 to 3 words, right away, you have influence on learner retention and attendance as an instructor. So as you're submitting your answers, you can see that they're being added here. If you're new to word clouds, the way they work is for the comments that are repeated the most, they will show up bigger on the word cloud. So we see encouragement is the biggest, so that's been entered several times thus far. Okay, so we'll take about another 10-15 seconds to enter your ideas, your thoughts on how we have influence, and then we'll review. Fantastic. All right, so if you'll just take this one moment to wrap up your last thought, because I think if you keep entering it, it'll keep moving and then we won't be able to read them for long. Fantastic. So let's look at some of these ways that we see that we do have influence on learner retention and attendance as instructors. Big parts are encouragement and the ability to build community, being approachable, creating goal-driven lessons, right? Flexibility, being empathetic, creating a family atmosphere, right? These are fantastic. I definitely hope to capture these. These are the areas that we can truly have an impact on learner retention and attendance in our classroom. And that's what we're really going to explore and focus on today. It's fantastic. Wonderful. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and return to the presentation. Thank you all for your contributions and sharing. So now we're going to go into our peer panel discussion. So in preparation for today's workshop, I reached out to some of our partner programs in Montgomery County from our network and asked the program leadership to recommend some instructors in their programs who have consistently had high learner retention and attendance throughout the semesters. And so we are lucky to have had Ms. Caroline Botsford, Ms. Jenny McDonald, and Ms. Pollyann Power recommended from their respected organizations. We'll go over their bios in a brief moment, but I wanted to just take a minute to celebrate and thank all three of them for being present today and your willingness to be a part of our panel. Our fourth panel member today is you, the rest of you who are a part of our network. So we have a couple different ways that you can engage in this conversation, and we definitely want to hear from you. The first way that you can engage is sharing your own thoughts and best practices and responses in response to the questions that our panelists will be responding to. So you can utilize the chat feature. I'm seeing this like a Twitter feed going. So if you hear something that inspires you, excites you, or that you personally want to respond to, please write it in the chat. You can also ask questions to our panelists who are being featured today. So to help Halima, who will be fielding the questions from the chat, if you can just actually write out question, the word question before your question, or Q. And so that will allow her to pull out the specific questions that you may have that you want us to ask the panel members. And then the third way that you can engage is by using the raise hand feature on Zoom. So for those of you who are less familiar, you can click on reactions, and depending on your device, you may see a longer rectangular section that says raise hand, and it has a little yellow hand raised in the air. So if you have a question that you would like to throw out to the panel that you may be thinking about around learner attendance or retention, you can feel free to do that too. We are setting up this panel a little bit differently, so you don't have to wait until the end to ask your question. You can really use that raise hand feature or drop it in the chat whenever you see fit. Fantastic. So if we could go ahead and spotlight, Halima, if you're able to spotlight our panelist, and I'm going to do a little bit of a bio about everyone so we know who we have in the room here. Okay. Fabulous. Thank you very much. I see Pollyann and I see Caroline. Hello. And do we have Jenny? Let's see. There's Jenny. Okay, fantastic. All right, so we have Miss Caroline Botsford. Caroline, could you give us a little wave? There she is. Caroline has been an ESOL instructor for 13 years. She is currently teaching adult ESOL classes online with the Chinese Culture and Community Service Center, which is based in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And she values the importance of making learning fun in the classroom. So we look forward to hearing more about that. Welcome and thank you, Caroline. We have Jenny McDonald. If you could give us a little wave, Jenny, thank you. She's been teaching adult ESOL for Seneca Creek Community Church in Gaithersburg, Maryland for the past 7 years. And connecting with learners is an important aspect of her teaching approach. She teaches beginner level classes online currently. Then we have Ms. Pollyann Power. She has been an ESOL instructor for the past 10 years. She is currently teaching classes at Ethiopian Community Center, which is based in Silver Spring, and also Shepherd Pratt. In her role as an ESOL instructor, she affirms and encourages all to remind ourselves that we are all constantly learning and tweaking, and you should never give up. Thank you to you three for being here. Thank you to your respective organizations for recommending that you join us today. So the first question that I'd like to put out there is for all of you to respond to. What do you believe instructors should take responsibility for in terms of learner attendance? And we can start with you, Caroline, please.
Responsibility. Well, our responsibility is to keep them coming and to have them active and activated. And in doing so, I think, as someone said in the poll you had, welcoming them is very important to start it off. And I also find that calling out their names and letting their names be the most important, because I work on Zoom. I've worked most of my time, 12 years, in person, but now since the COVID, I've been teaching solely online, and I'm new to it. I mean, it's been about, I guess I'm on my second year. But I'm finding that the names are a good way to get them to activate them. And I like to show the attendance. I like to share the screen and show the attendance so that they can see when they come and don't come, so that there's a little bit of competition and a sense of, oh, I didn't come, I came the most. And, and when they didn't come, oh, where were you? We missed you that time. And going over each week, and when the holidays are coming and we're at the beginning of the month and the end of the month, the attendance sheet gives a lot of information. And also it helps them and me to get their names spelled correctly, because Chinese is very different. So, they tell me their name, and then I go into the chat and I go, is this right? Because I have to use pinyin, and I go, is this right? Is this right? So we spend a lot of time on their names. And then each week, calling out their names and having everyone say, just to make it welcoming is really the big word. And having them all say good morning. I say good morning to them, and they say good morning, teacher. And then everyone says good morning and calls out their name, and makes them feel part of the community. And then changing their names in the windows as they come in, and leaving the chat open so that they can enter without me, so that they can engage in a community without me before I even come. And then when I come in, I listen, and they go, where's the teacher? Where's the teacher? And they're all excited already. And so when I come, it's like, ta-da, it's a setup, really. So it's fun. It's about getting them all to feel that they're part of something, that they want to come every week, because perhaps they can't see them anymore in person either. So it's their community.
Fantastic. Thank you, Caroline. Pollyann, what do you believe instructors should take responsibility for in terms of learner attendance?
Well, a couple practical things. I think it's important to assess whether or not it's some trend. For example, we were talking about the economy is very good right now, and many students are getting jobs or getting more hours. So if it's a trend in the world, you need to bring it back to your parent organization to talk about whether we need more flexibility in classes, more drop-in. The other important thing to track is some students come from a culture. My students come from a variety of backgrounds. And some students come from a culture that if you had to miss for a month or 2 weeks, that student is going to be too shy to come back. They're going to feel like they will not be allowed to come back. And so it's important to grab that person and say, hey, it's okay, come back. I know you had 2 weeks taking care of a parent or a child, or work schedule changed, but come back now. The other important thing is many of our organizations actually have social workers attached to them or some kind of help. So if somebody who's had very good attendance suddenly goes away, it should send up a little red flag that, does this person need help? What's going on, right? Maybe their computer broke and you can get one somehow, right? Call your friend group and find those extra iPads that people have stowed away or whatever, and like deliver it to their house. Maybe, I don't know. I've done that before, but like maybe that's too much. But what happened? Like, where did this person go? And maybe they need some external help. in order to come back. So
Thank
that's,
you.
I think, important.
Yeah, thank you, Pollyann. And Jen, anything that you would add? What do you believe instructors should take responsibility for in terms of learner attendance?
Well, a lot of the same things that Caroline and Pollyann have already said, building community, making sure that each student knows that they're valued, that they are part of a group, that you really want them to be there and to do their best, and you're going to help them in doing that. And to feel connected with other students. We are all virtual since COVID started. So we'll use the breakout rooms so that they can, the rule is when you come into the class, it's English only. And so I do the breakout rooms so that they have a little bit of a chance when I'm not watching to, speak to other people in their native language. And that seems to help a little bit, just to, again, encourage the community, make it a fun environment, and encourage learning. We spend a lot of time on English is hard. This is hard for people who are born here. And we really applaud that you're already speaking another language and now you're learning something that's hard as well. So we applaud you and we encourage you, and we will have some particular ways for you to continue to practice, but English is practice, practice, practice.
Thank you. So I'm hearing a lot about building community, noticing trends, and creating a welcoming and supportive environment. So let's talk a little bit about this community and engagement in the classroom. And I guess we'll start with you on this one, Pollyann. What techniques do you use to keep learners engaged through the duration of class and excited to come back for the next one?
Okay. Well, there are a couple things. I find, especially with virtual, I'm running through activities much more quickly. You can't really rest on something for 20 minutes. The screen can't look the same for even 10 minutes, really. And that doesn't mean that I'm bouncing from topic to topic. It's within the same topic. I bounce from material to material, like a video, then a worksheet, then we type something, then we do a Kahoot, and all of these things really don't take very long. So it's also a matter of when you're looking at the screen, there's gray, right, where it's writing, and then there's images, and try to make sure two sort of gray activities aren't next to each other, right? Like a worksheet next to a grammar lesson is kind of, it's got to be broken up with something very visual and something that involves talking and interaction. So not to run things too close to each other that are more dry, let's say. Dry, you have to do some dry, right? And actually the students want that, right? They want some hardcore, like, piece this out for me. But if you do too much in a row, then it makes you tired. It makes them tired. The other thing is there's this weird psychology fact that I was reading about, like human behavior, where the last bit of an experience is that what resonates most. So all of us have had the experience of teaching and something's not working, right? It's just dead. The material worked really well a year ago, and for some reason it's, and you start to feel like, oh no, this isn't going well. Because you're going to be switching to another topic, you're going to be switching to another piece of the lesson, don't let that mood doesn't need to last, right? And the most important part of the class for retention, I believe, is the last 10 or 15 minutes, depending on your class size, obviously. Like if it's a 3-hour class, I would say your last 15 minutes. If it's 2-hour, maybe your last 10, because that leaves the impression. You want to leave on a note of energy, right? So I never actually give a test for the last. If if an organization requires me to give assessments, I'm not going to give that assessment at the very end of class, because that leaves on a like down energy note, if that makes sense. I'm going to leave on something really tried and true, very visual and very up energy, so that even if some of the class didn't work very well, that's not the impression going out the door.
Teacher hack. That's fantastic. And I see some chatter in the chat. It says, it sounds like, from Francesca from Casa, it sounds like we have to get creative as an instructor. Learning needs to be fun to the students. Fun to the students. Yeah. And I know that's something that you spoke to, Caroline, about making class fun. So are there any other techniques that you use to make your class engaging and make learners want to come to the next one?
Well, you want to make it, you want to have a lot of different parts of your class that has a routine, so that they expect that, but you make it fun in that. I mean, so that they know where they're going and how it's going to work. I prepare PowerPoints. I take the book and I go through all the points that I think are important for them to learn in the book, and prepare a PowerPoint. And so I go through the PowerPoint, step by step. Then we go to the book, and I manage to get a copy of the book so that I can share screen with the book with the activities. Then I also found a way to get the videos of the lessons on YouTube, because I'm dealing with Chinese seniors. So, I need to do both languages with them, because, they're seniors and they've been here from 28 years to maybe 1 year, so whatever. So you have to have all sorts of things. I can't just do English. So this is a new approach. And then I have a dialogue. There's in the book are the dialogues. And what I do is I have one student, I practice with a student, usually the more advanced, the first round of the dialogue. And then I have that student call on another student and then engage in the dialogue. And then that student calls on the next student. And so it creates a round robin. And then, at the end, if someone's missed, they go, oh, you missed so-and-so. They all take care of each other, because Chinese people are very community oriented already. So, they make that part of it easy. So anyway, and then I record the dialogues on WeChat, which is their app. And so they can do home study and they can practice. And I tell them, walk, walk, walk when you're studying these. Don't sit. Make sure, because they're active. I said, get out and walk while you're practicing the dialogue, so they can bring that back to the next class. And then I do a review and go, okay, what did you remember? And I leave blanks and I do a PowerPoint. That's how I test them. And the more advanced students, what they do is they end up helping the other students. So sometimes I just sit and listen. I go, oh, go off you go, and I go, thank you, teacher. Always tell them that they're teaching. And they teach me too. And I go, thank you, teacher, 谢谢老师. So, I'm always keeping it moving, as much as you can.
Fantastic. Thank you. Anything that you would add to that, Jenny?
One thing that I just thought of was that I start out the class with just a question of the day, just something to get people speaking in English. The last question was, what do you like to do in the fall? And so it's just an open-ended. And then I make sure that I call on each person using their name and giving each person a chance to speak. We do break out into the breakout rooms. I use the online manual. I do not nearly as many fun things as it sounds like Caroline does, but we do kind of keep it going. I also use the Zoom, like I said, with the breakout rooms. So give it a little bit of different, sometimes I'll talk, sometimes I'll get other people to talk. Sometimes we'll all listen to the online manual just to kind of mix it up.
Fantastic. So what we're really hearing is keeping the energy moving, diversity, and the type of activities, and actual physical movement, including physical movement. I hear from Caroline as well. Fantastic. Halima, do we have any questions from the chat? Just a reminder to everyone, feel free to share your own answers to the questions below. They are indeed our featured panel, but you are part of the panel as well. So feel free to share if you have any different ideas or insights.
Yes, there is a question. One moment.
Can I respond to Caroline's chat? For breakout rooms, you have to practice because they have to actually accept the breakout room. So you have to kind of show them what that is going to look like, either on their phone or on their tablet. And there's some good Zoom in different languages that gives them that you can do like a YouTube or a Zoom video to show them how to accept that breakout room.
The first question is, how can we better keep communication with students who do not use text, emails, or phone calls?
Ooh.
Say that again.
How can we better keep communication with students who do not text, email, or phone calls?
Well, as Polly does, you go to their home.
I have actually. I got a loaf of bread out of it.
Oh, yeah.
But there's WhatsApp, but and Remind. But I think if somebody didn't use text or phone, they wouldn't use Remind. The only thing I can think is some people use WhatsApp. Because you don't have to have a phone service. I don't know, but other than WhatsApp, I'm at a loss. Anybody else?
Except for recommending that they go to an online program. I mean, a in-person program. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
Or they can go to the library, where they have conversation classes. I mean, there are resources in the community that can be mined.
I think you all bring up a really great point. This might be one of those factors that may be outside of our influence as our control as instructors, but perhaps it may mean that our program may not be the best fit for them. And so using those community resources we have available could be a way to keep them connected to ESOL opportunities that may be a better fit for their communication style or abilities. Great. Any other questions in the chat, Halima?
Yes, how do you promote engagement in online classes? We find that online classes are a lot harder to get students to show up and engage.
Wow, if I can jump in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I find that Zoom online is I find it very easy. I find it easy because you have every student's face looking at you, if you can get them to do that. When you're in a classroom, you can't see everybody at the same time. And also, if you focus on the window and their names, that makes them more it activates them. If you can, maybe you need to copy and paste on a blank, on a document, rather than using the whiteboard. The whiteboard is useless. Go and use a Word document and put in the document, create a blank and use it over and you can use it over and over every week. And you can put in there a symbol, you can put in an arrow, give it a nice color of red, and just keep it to the side, save the document, and then type and keep moving that arrow around when you want to focus on something. But you've got to use a Word doc because the white board is no good. You can also do PowerPoints. You can do videos. You can, there's so many things that you can use when you share screen, even if you don't use the breakout room. So there's so much, if you could just get comfortable with being so close, because you're really so close. Look at us now. I mean, we can see each other. I mean, it's much more intense than being in a classroom, although a classroom is fun too. I mean, there you can, whatever. Anyway, go ahead,
Thank
Polly.
you. Pollyann?
I just have to also put a plug in for Microsoft Word. If you've ever done any work with different types of learners, it's actually pretty easy to accommodate a visual learner simply by changing the color of something.
Absolutely.
So I don't use the whiteboard, I use Word as well because I can put blocks of color around stuff and change the color of the type pretty quickly. So, here's an example of this in red, and here's an example of this in green. Like the page is covered with different colors, and it focuses the eye. It sort of wakes up the brain a little more. So I have to also put in a plug for Microsoft Word instead of Whiteboard.
And a lot of learners can read before they can speak. So that's why I think it's important to use Word and also to do PowerPoints or whatever, however way you can, that you can prepare them with simple screens, you know, and move them along and then direct them to their activity or whatever.
And can we, oh, go ahead, Pollyann, and then we'll slide and let Jenny hop in.
I also want to second something Carolyn said previously about having students talk to each other is another way to create a lot of engagement. I have 4 different languages in my class, so I can't really, you know, I have to have the people of different languages talk to each other or explain things to each other, but really they have to speak to each other in English because most people don't, you know, they don't all speak the same language, but having them engage with each other is a very good way to get people drawn in. Sorry, go ahead.
Jenny, anything you would want to add? Oh,
If you don't want to go,
You're fuzzy,
Word?
you're fuzzed out.
I know I'm fussed out, sorry. Can you see it now?
You
No,
use
the
a
screen is
board.
fuzzy.
You have
Everything
a
but your face.
whiteboard.
It's a whiteboard. It's just a small whiteboard, and you
Okay.
can write on it with different colors. I find that using the whiteboard or sharing my screen, then all the pictures are so small that it's hard for me to see whether the students are getting it or not. So I just bring in my handy dandy little whiteboard and use my red and green and black and blue markers. And I can still keep the students' pictures larger. It just helps me.
Yeah.
all right. And thank you all. Andy, I see your hand is up. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Well, I was just going to add to what about the use of Microsoft Word. The other thing that you can do is insert pictures. There's an insert button there, and you can either insert clip art or insert actual photographs. So in my class yesterday, we were talking about uniforms, and the students were having trouble. This was a beginner class, getting the concept of uniform. And so I just went in and inserted a picture of a nurse's uniform and a guard's uniform and a policeman's uniform. So that option is there for you as well.
And you can also go to Google, and then under Google, you can say images.
Yeah, Google Images does the same thing.
And you
The
can,
nice thing about Microsoft Word is you don't have to leave the document. You can just
yeah.
pop it right.
It's like, oh, Andy, you went on mute, but I think we caught the end of your statement. You don't have to leave the document. You can just stay
Yeah,
right
you
there.
can just drop it right in. You don't have to go into Google Images. Google Images has many more, but I've had pretty decent luck with Microsoft.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. So we're coming to the close of our panel portion for today. So I just have one more question. This one might be a little bit of a challenge because it's narrowing us down. If you were to pick one, just one key classroom practice that supports keeping your learners coming to class day after day, what would it be? Just one. And everyone else, feel free to answer this question because we'd love to hear from the other instructors that are present as well. You can write your answer in the chat. We'll start with you, Jenny.
I think the main thing that we try to do is encourage comfort with the teacher. The teacher is a teacher, absolutely, but is also can be a friend, can be a resource. You can talk to all of our teachers at our church. We are blessed to have 8 different levels of classes. So we talk to the students to make sure that they're in the right level of class. That would be the second thing, is comfort with the teacher and make sure they're in the right level of the class.
Thank you. Pollyann?
I completely agree with that, and things Carolyn said before, a certain humbleness as a teacher. You know, the days of the top down, I know everything, you don't, that's just gone, right? The fact that our students, they already speak a language, right? Let's be clear, they're already educated people, a lot of them. So we're just a tool for them to use, and to keep it as a relationship that's almost peer on peer in a way. more than top down. Creates a welcoming atmosphere.
And Caroline, if you were to pick one key classroom practice that supports keeping your learners coming to class day after day, what would it be? Not trying to stress you out.
No, it's just all of a sudden it went out of my mind, but it came back, so I'm all right. So the most important thing for me is that I am in touch with the students throughout the week, because on WeChat we have a group and everyone can talk to each other, and then we have individuals so that they can communicate with me. And if they've missed class, you know, I go, oh, we missed you. We all missed you today. Or I go back after the class, I do dialogues for them, record dialogues. And then I always say, you guys did a great job today, you know, just to keep it going throughout the week so that the community continues. It's not just once a week. So that's what I would say. Keep in communication with them.
Fantastic.
Find a way. Yeah.
Thank you. And I see here in the chat, we have responses from our fellow instructors. Games make it fun and interesting from them, says Paul. Vince says, I like to start class with a small talk topic, a little bit of a tongue twister there, for discussion, makes the class seem less threatening. Right. We have a lot of great responses. I encourage everyone to check out that chat there. And if you could join me in giving a round of applause to our featured panelists. Thank you, Jenny, Pollyann, and Caroline, for taking the time to join us today and share your best practices and ideas with us all. It was really meaningful, and we appreciate you taking the time and sharing. Thank you so much. So for the next part of our presentation today, we are going to be breaking out into small groups. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you all. And Halima, if you could help me in unpinning Pollyann, Jenny, and Caroline, please. Fantastic. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. So now we're going to have the opportunity to explore what's personally happening in each of our individual classrooms. We've thought about so far what we don't have influence over, what we do as instructors, and we're hearing from our feature panelists, their experiences in the classroom. So now is an opportunity to think about your classroom in particular. And so to do this, we're going to break into small groups. So you'll be with other instructors from our Montgomery County ESOL community. So I'm really excited that you'll have a chance to meet some fellow instructors from probably different organizations than your own. So in our rooms, we're going to have group discussions, and they're going to be guided by a worksheet. So I'm going to be sharing here a Google Doc with everyone. And you should be able to view it. If there's any issue, please let me know. I'll stop sharing here and pull that up on the big screen as well so that you can see.
Are you putting it in? Do you want us to go to those docs? Do you put it in the chat?
Yes, so there's a link in the chat, so you should be able to click on that. If you have any issue with that, please let me know. Okay, and I'm also going to share it here on the screen just for the moment so we can see that we're all on the same page. All right, great. And if anyone's having issue accessing that doc, just let me know. But I see there's 13, 14 of us who are in it now. Fabulous. So this is not a fillable document, but you can print it off if you have access to a printer, or if you want to do so later. But now if you have a piece of paper or a notebook, you can jot your answers down there for now. So this worksheet is going to guide your conversations in the breakout room. You'll have about 30 minutes to work together through the worksheet. And it's just a guide and a way for you to reflect about what's happening in your classroom and to have some peer discussion about your promising practices and others' promising practices. So hopefully you can learn something new that you can try in your classroom. So the invitation is for you to join your group, have an opportunity for everyone to contribute and share, and you work through your responses on this worksheet together to generate conversation. If you start having a great conversation about retention and attendance and it goes in a different direction than the worksheet, fine. The point is that we want you to have an opportunity to learn and share with one another. Okay, so you'll have about 25 to 30 minutes to work through this worksheet in your groups, and Halima and I will slide in and provide any support if need be. Any questions before we get started? And I can't see everyone, so if you do have questions, you can just unmute yourself. I think Roberta?
Yes, thank you. What you display on the screen, I couldn't get with the link you gave me. Is
Okay,
there some way of ensuring that that is what I'm supposed to see?
sure. Is anyone else having trouble getting to that link?
No.
Okay, so Roberta, what I'm going to try to do is send it to you individually and see if it works better that way.
Is that something I can download to my Word or something like that?
Yes, so it's downloadable and it's also printable.
Okay.
So I will find your room. If someone maybe in your room can help you out when we go there. If not, I will find your room and I will help you personally.
Thank you very much.
Okay. You're welcome. Is Bashra, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Boshra, yes, yes, thank you. Are we supposed to write our, responses on that sheet, or is that meant to be like, a prompt to discuss things verbally?
Sure. So good question. So if you're not able to write directly on this document. So if you have access to a printer, you can print that off. It is meant to guide your discussion. So ideally you would read it with your group and discuss with your group before moving on to the next question. If you'd like to, if you don't have access to a printer, you could always just write your responses out or use the worksheet for personal reflection at a later date or time.
And I got it.
All right, fantastic. Any other questions before we go into our breakout rooms? All right, well, Halima, you can open those rooms. She'll send you an invitation to join a room. You can click join, and I hope you have great conversations. Welcome back. So we'll give everybody a moment to get back into the room. Okay, I think that might be everybody. So I'd like to invite you to join me in something that I love to do when I was an instructor in the classroom to keep engagement and excitement throughout the day. Every time we finish an activity together, we'd all go celebrate and clap. So I invite you to join me. Celebrate. You can unmute yourself too. Celebrate, celebrate. Fantastic. Thank you all for being a part of today's workshop and contributing your ideas and being open to hearing from others as well. If you'll take a moment and share in the chat, or you can raise your hand. I see Miss Roberta is ready. If you can share one new idea you can try in your classroom to improve learner attendance that you may have learned today. And we'll start with you, Roberta. If you'd like, you can unmute. You're on mute.
The Remind app. I never knew one existed.
The Remind app.
I've actually given out my telephone number to 2 students, which I feel a little uncomfortable with, but I do trust them. Still.
Yeah.
But I was thinking I would love to have everyone just quickly run down whatever they found, so we can just record it. And are we going to get the recording?
Yes, so you will have access to the recording. We're going to post it on YouTube and also on our McHale webpage. Within 48 hours, you'll receive an email from me that has the links to all the goodies for today and future workshops. Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, everyone feel free to add to the chat something new. We have Gabriella, field trips. Yes. Chin Wu says, let students be a part of the class. Jenny, Rivka told us about ESLlibrary.com for resources.
Yes.
Fantastic. Let's keep them coming. What other ideas
are you welcome? Is that the ESL ITJ? Yeah, ITJs.
I see. I think do we have ESLlibrary.com?
Yeah, but that's the ESL ITJ. It's the IT
Oh, okay.
journal. It was created by the State Department at one point. I think it's all the people passed on to greater glory, but it's really great. It's a little quick quizzes, and it has very nice resources.
Fantastic, fantastic. We see one-on-one time with the teacher. Great. From Tyra. We have, they're coming in fast now. I can't keep up. Okay, Pollyann, always use the students' names and examples. Awesome. Deborah, keep it relevant. Holidays, current events, being personal so students feel more welcomed. Anna, share info and resources that students are interested in. Rosa, orientation day. Fantastic. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Thank you so much for sharing. We'd also love your feedback. This is a kind of a different kind of workshop. It's our first time doing a workshop like this. And we really, truly value your feedback. So if you'll please take a moment, it'll probably take literally 2 minutes to complete the survey. I just put it in the chat. It's with Survey Monkey. And I'll drop it again in the chat since we're getting more comments coming in. It just is a 2-minute survey. You can let us know how your workshop experience was today so that we can continue to improve our offerings to you. I'm going to try to copy this again and drop it in the chat. So if you have a moment now, that would be much appreciated. And thank you for everyone who continues to share the one new idea you're walking away with today. Yeah, I'll read out a couple more of those while you're completing your surveys. Call students if they miss class. What did you do yesterday/today? Voice of America website. This one's a new one for me, so I'll have to check that out myself. What do you use English for? Visuals. Anna says, be understanding about the challenges students face, like having children with them during online class. Or their moms. I don't know if those of you just saw my mom just came in the background. So moms and children. Roberta, encourage listening, reading, speaking, and writing in English. Prepare agenda, review previous topics, class lessons and resources, says Vince. Fantastic. Thank you everybody so much. And thank you in advance for completing these surveys. Just a couple of items on McHale. As I said at the very beginning, we're celebrating our 15th year as an organization, and we're having a kickoff event tomorrow at Silver Spring Civic Center, right in Veterans Plaza, right outside of that Civic Center. So everyone, you are all welcome to attend. And we'll be out there from 4 to 5:30. You'll have an opportunity to hear about the work Michaela has done and what we plan to do, and to mix and mingle with others who are serving adult ESOL learners in Montgomery County. We also have a network meeting coming up on November 10th, which is open to everybody in the network: instructors, providers, concerned and interested community members. And this workshop meeting is going to be led by our very own Halima, and it's about job skills and employee resources that are available to those who we serve. And then the final item that I just want everyone to be aware of is the Deborah Bhattacharya Professional Development Award that we offer here at McHale. So there are a lot of conferences in TESOL and adult education that are coming up. If you are interested in attending one of the conferences or some kind of professional development that is not being offered by McHale, we do offer scholarships or awards if you're interested in attending those, but just don't have the financial means right now to do so. So you can go to www.mchale.org/awards, and you can apply for this professional development reward, and we would reimburse you for the training. So I definitely encourage everyone. Thank you, Halima, for dropping that link for both the anniversary kickoff and the professional development award. So check that out. We have some great in the ESOL community. There are a lot of great workshops and trainings coming up. So check those out and apply. I just want to thank you all for coming. This was a very insightful and fun experience. This will be up for your viewing soon. So thank you all and enjoy the rest of your day. Feel free to unmute and say bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye,
Thank you so
Caroline.
much.